let's get right into this Raw from last night, and let's talk about CM Punk, AJ Lee, Becky Lynch, and Seth Rollins. What I think is the most important storyline headed into Wrestlepalooza. We've had a lot of conjecture, a lot of talk about Wrestlepalooza lately. Of course, we do have Brock and John Cena. You mentioned John Cena earlier, Jordy, but I do, in my mind, feel like this one is arguably the main event. I'm not sure it will be because of the fact that Brock and Cena are on the card. What we saw last night, of course, extending the rivalry, the work on the microphone between these four, all four, I think deserves applause. It's the best told story headed to Palooza. I'm going to go to you first, Jordy. Let's get right back into it. What did you think about everything you saw on last night's Monday Night Raw?
This feud has been fantastic. I think everybody needed it. I think it's done wonders for Becky to really slide into that heel role because of the whole Becky Hogan narrative that was happening. She's just leaned into it in the best way that only Becky can, and it's been great. We've been saying for the longest time that we need Seth to get booed and the song, and we needed to change because everyone's going to keep cheering it. Turns out all he needed was Becky Lynch. Turns out all he needed was his wife to come in and help. And now Seth is getting booed as he should. They did still join in Monday Night Rollins, which I can't blame them for, really. But they're now booing Seth appropriately. And AJ on the mic is just absolute fire, right? Like, she got them chanting therapy last night. She got them chanting constipated. These fans will just chant any word that AJ Lee says. It's fantastic. And it's beautiful in the way that not only in the storyline, but you can see it happening in the ring. Punk is just out here, just happy watching AJ do a thing. He's not taking center stage. Like he said last night, he didn't use his theme. He let AJ use hers. It's not really about him, and he knows that. And it's just a great dynamic to see for people that are just so good at what they do in the dynamic, doing what they do best, and even to the point where the little fake that they did last night, where everybody was like, "Oh, Becky and Seth are turning on each other," and it turned out to be a plan. I was hoping that was the case. I was like, "No, come on, let's not start showing like cracks in the armor so early." And they didn't. It was all a ruse to make sure AJ was in the ring on a roll, and so Becky could take from behind and whack her in the back of the head in the way that Seth and Becky do, because they're calculated, they're the visionaries, right? Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm so with you. I think one of the best things with it, I mean, if you can get therapy over, you can get anything over AJ Lee at this point, right? Like,
we respect it.
Yeah,
that's pretty unbelievable, honestly. And I mean that respectfully, right? I'm just saying, like, you made that point earlier about like anything she says, they're going to chant.
Yeah.
I think it's funny you brought up the CM Punk and like how it's not about him and how excited he is. CM Punk, you almost never see like break character in any way. He like can't wipe the smile off his face watching AJ perform.
That smile's so real.
It's like so real. Like he's not working when it comes to that. Like that is genuinely genuine, for lack of a better way to put it, at least in my eyes. We've got some comments here really quickly. Christopher Leclerc with AJ Lee pins Becky Lynch on Saturday. We've also got Aunt You with What Up Crew? What's going on? Aunt You. Donnie DeSilva with that segment was so long and only the last 2 minutes were necessary. Ooh, Donnie. I think it was fun enough and there was enough star power that it was okay with me upon first watch. But I kind of do hear where you're coming from as far as like the meat of the promo or the segment was really the last 2 minutes. I think there's no debate on that, but I was sort of okay with it because I was just invested on like what's going to happen. But 100% get where you're coming from there. And then Andito Tehendito with Punk flexing how much more of a wife guy than Seth he is was hilarious. Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. It's funny. Although I think Seth kind of did that a little bit with Becky in the ring from the concourse in the Chicago segment. So it is kind of like a tit for tat there. as far as
Seth
the
was also
rivalry is
very funny
concerned.
when Becky said, "What did Becky say? Like, oh, I'm the greatest women's wrestler of all time. I'm not the only one who says it." And Punk was like, "Nobody else says it." And then
Yeah.
Seth was like,
Yeah.
"I say it. I say it.
Absolutely.
I say it all the time." And it's
I
like,
say it all the time was
yeah,
so good.
brilliant.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
The timing of that was like absolutely
Yeah.
delightful. Des, obviously, I got to get your thoughts on all of this too and the rivalry. Do you maybe even have an early prediction headed to Palooza?
Yeah, I got a few. Jordy definitely touched upon a lot of good points. I feel like this was a really fun segment. The crowd in Springfield, man, they were cracking me up, right? Whether they're chanting constipated, chanting goose, or they're chanting no one likes you, and the way Seth and Becky responded to the crowd, I thought this was a lot of fun. I understand what Donnie's saying. It was kind of long, right? And I did feel that in a way because I'm like, wow, this is kind of dragging out. But I was having a fun time with it. So it was just one of those things where I just brushed off and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm entertained. And at the end of the day, wrestling is about being entertained, and I was sports entertained. I love the dynamic between all these four. Punk and AJ Lee walking out together was great because Becky and Seth, they had their different entrances, which I thought was really interesting. The fact that Punk and AJ Lee walked out together, it shows that they have more chemistry together. And the way Becky and Rollins were, even though it was a ruse, they were teasing where they're like, oh, like, why'd you do that? You know, like, we're supposed to be on the same side. Why are you putting me in danger? Which honestly makes me believe, I'm not going to lie, and this sounds really messed up, but I feel like Seth Rollins might curb stomp AJ Lee. I don't know. I just have that weird feeling, and I feel like maybe like Becky and Punk are going to get into it. Like something's going to happen, right? AJ, she slapped Seth. Becky slapped Punk so many times. I just feel like there's going to be some sort of mixed gender attack between both people. And maybe it doesn't happen because wrestling's PG, so I get it. But I feel like it's warranted in this situation.
I hear where you're coming from 100%. And I was gonna we had a comment here too. What do y'all think? The chances are we'll get some proper Punk versus Becky graps during the match. I agree with a lot of what you said, Des, other than the one thing. I do not think we'll see any male on female offense.
That's fair.
I think we'll see a spot where maybe AJ gets Seth and Becky gets Punk at the same time. And it leads to sort of an encounter in the middle of the ring between the two women. But I don't see the idea of Seth stomping AJ Lee is a bit much. What I could see is some scenario maybe where he actually attempts to stomp AJ Lee and accidentally stomps his own wife.
That's better. I like that one, honestly.
That could work. I could see the WWE being like, okay. I could see that as a possibility because
that's fair.
I don't know. Even that is a bit much. I'm not sure.
RKO's the only thing that gets the pass, apparently.
Yeah, you might see Punk. That's a good point. You might see Punk get Becky up for a GTS, but then slip out or saved by Seth. That's a good call. Too.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could easily see that. Right.
Right.
I could definitely see that.
I could see it too.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like that's a difficult one to navigate because also you think about things like Taya Valkyrie and John Morrison, Johnny, whatever promotion he's in, have put on amazing, right? They're married and have put on amazing matches against each other. Right. And like, so I don't have an issue with that because I'm a fan of all wrestling 100%. I just don't see the WWE on ESPN, especially. Maybe. On ESPN, that's kind of my one caveat.
That's this
guy.
ESPN show, you don't take that big of a risk.
Mickey Mouse.
This guy.
It's Mickey's show.
No.
Not so fast, my friends. In the words of speaking of ESPN employees, Lee Corso, monster shout out. Not so fast, my friends. But yeah, I just don't see that on ESPN. Honest to goodness, if it was like just a regular show, not the debut on that platform, I would actually be more inclined to be like, yeah, why would they not break out something a little bit controversial like that? I just don't see it like, hey, we got this big new agreement. Let's have
our guy
AJ Lee.
who's had neck injuries.
Right. I don't know. It's just like I would never warrant it, but it's happening too frequently to the point where it's like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
the crowd would go ballistic for it.
Yeah.
I have no issue with it. 100%. Yeah, I agree that Donnie summed it up perfectly here. None of the women are afraid to take a spot from the guys. It's just bad optics. Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
That's where, and
That's
I'm like,
exactly
on
what it is.
ESPN, that's the, yeah,
True.
that would be my only caveat at all when it comes to the idea of something like that. That's why I think we're more
With
likely
somebody
to see,
with somebody somewhat controversial.
True.
yeah, maybe a man, maybe, you know, Becky's rock bottom, the man handle slam,